Okay, here's how to do the tasks required of DAW Proficiency Test 2. Task number 1. Prepare an audio project to edit and mix by importing audio files, arranging tracks in a proper order, and making all the audio events roughly the same amplitude. Open up the browser, click on Files, and on my computer on the desktop, I have some tracks inside this On Broadway's Tracks folder. And I need only highlight everything and drag it on over into the arranger. Okay, once I do that, I typically arrange my project in an order that makes maximum sense. So the drums, the kick drum, the drum overhead is first, and then the bass, and maybe the rhythm guitar, the piano, the lead vocal and the saxophone, the lead instruments, and then the harmonies are last. I have some differences in amplitude I might address by increasing the volume slightly so as to match all of the neighboring audio events. Something like that. You don't want to end up with one audio event that's super small, and then when you go to mix, there's one channel that's totally different. Okay. That was question 1. Alter the pitch of an audio event by 6 semitones using the transpose function. Oftentimes, it's necessary to put the sound in a different key to match pre-recorded sample libraries or recordings that you make that are in different keys. So if I right-click on an audio event, I get these options here. One is transpose. So if the song is in D, as in dog, and I want to put it in the key of C, as in cat, which is 2 half steps lower, also known as 2 semitones, which is how this is measured. So -2 means -2 half steps, or -2 semitones. So that means this saxophone solo. Alright, now let's transpose it. Listen to it. We can go even lower. Alright, pretty useful and pretty simple. Once again, it's just a right click and it brings up this set of options for audio files. One is transpose. Okay, question 3. Slow an audio event down by approximately 25% using the speedup function. Alright, what am I talking about here? Sometimes you need to alter the amount of time that elapses during the course of any given sound. So if we were just considering this one little snippet here, and say for whatever reason we needed this sound to last almost all the way into this one, you can actually go and use the speed up function and speed up the event or slow it down. Now it's lasting much longer. We drastically slowed that sound down. But the question is, can we do that by 25%? Slow it down by 25%. It might seem counterintuitive, but to slow it down, you put in a number that's less than 1, 0.76, or type in 0.75, and now it's been slowed down 25%. If, on the other hand, you wanted to speed it up by 25%, then it will be 1.25, and you can type in these values. Once again, that's as easy as a right click, and it brings up these audio-specific adjustments like speed up and transpose. And there's even a tune function. It allows you to actually tune by cents. CENTS. As in an abbreviation of 100. 100 cents equals 1/2 step. Alright. Send an audio signal to an effects channel and insert reverb on the effects channel. So often, when you are applying reverb in your mixer, you do so by sending your signal to another channel. So you use a send. Let's send this piano part to an effects channel. Now this effects channel just appeared here, and upon this effects channel, we shall insert reverb. So now we have two representations in the mix of the piano. It has its own track, but it's also been routed to this other track, the effects track. So it has another channel in the mix. And on that separate channel, we've placed reverb. This gives you lots of options for balancing sound. It helps you make it so your reverb's not overwhelming. So you see it's sending signal here. And it's also being represented in the effects channel. Okay, sometimes it's necessary to convert MIDI into audio so that you can use actual plugins. In my experience, using effects within the domain of plugins and virtual instruments is less than satisfactory. So if I have some sort of MIDI file in my project, so I have this MIDI part here now. If you highlight the MIDI event and hit Control B as in boy for bounce, it actually converts that MIDI file into an equivalent audio file. Then you can get rid of the MIDI channel in your mix and actually have audio in your mixer that you can use real effects on. We are going to process a kick drum with 3 effects: expansion, equalization, and compression. So I like to insert some expansion first to separate the kick drum from the rest of the sounds. You don't want it on too severe, and you don't want it on too low so that it's not doing anything. You have to clarify the track by only allowing the kick drum through. Something like this. Okay, it's usually also necessary to fix the equalization of a kick drum. And I generally like to take a scoop out in the upper bass and lower mid-range. Maybe filter out some of the bottom and add some slap with the shelf. Now, it's not always necessary, but oftentimes a compressor is useful. Usually compression on a kick drum is pretty severe, maybe something like 5, 6, 7, 8 to 1. I'll go with 7 to 1, which, as you can see, is pretty flat at the top. And I'll find the compression threshold so that it's roughly equivalent to the RMS value of the sound. You'll know when the compressor works when you see the reduction meter. And then with a kick drum, I find that it's necessary to slow the attack down. Otherwise, it cuts the beginning of the kick drum sound off. So pretty slow attack, 60, 70, 80, 90 milliseconds works well. Okay, that's everything. 6 tasks. for DAW Proficiency Test 2.